So here's a bottle of fruit mead that I've had around for quite a number of years now. I forget the exact age of it. It is 8 or 9 years old. It's actually been made by a friend of mine. It could even be 10 years old. I can't remember if we made this. I showed him how to make fruit mead one year, and I can't remember if it was, I think it was just after we moved into this house, in which case it would be about 9 years old now. He gave me a few bottles to thank him for showing him how to do it, take him through the whole process. It's a 375 milliliter bottle. I don't even remember, I think I was doing a lot of cherry and raspberry that year, I think, and I think he might have made a combination of the two, or it might have been strawberry cherry. I've already taken the cork out. It smells fantastic. His was slightly oxidized. I showed another friend the same year how to make mead, and this friend in particular, and the other friend gave me a few bottles too. This one was slightly oxidized. He kind of mistreated it in the fermenter. But actually, a lot of people will like a slightly oxidized alcoholic beverage, because that is, if you like sherry or what's the other one that's oxidized, if you like those kind of flavors anyway. And it's only subtle in this one, so let's just oh man, yeah, it's more than subtle actually. It's still very enjoyable. I think what he had let happen with this one was that he let the airlock on the carboy fermenter go dry, and so there was actually air getting in there, and he left it, you leave that before you bottle it for, I think he left it for 2 years or something like that, which is normally completely in order to leave it for that long before you bottle, but you have to prevent air from getting in, and he let the airlock go dry. So that is fairly oxidized, a little bit too much for me. It still has just a fantastic nose of the fruit, and I'm still going to drink the whole thing. It's still quite enjoyable. Anybody who likes sherry, or what's the other one, cognac, is that the one that's made with the that has the oxidized flavors in it? It's completely normal for those drinks. Anybody who enjoys those would really enjoy this mead, actually, because it tastes very similar. I don't like either one of those for precisely that reason. I don't like those oxidized flavors. But oh, it's not bad, even with that. My other friend, who made basically the same thing, he took better care of his, and I enjoyed a bottle last summer, I believe it was, and it was just knocked me over good. It was that damn good, and this had the potential to be the same. I mean, it's clear as a bell. Every other aspect of it is just fantastic. The only problem is that oxidized flavor from having let the airlock go dry in the fermenter. Anyway, cheers. That's what I'm drinking on this Friday evening. I may consume half of that. It's fairly high alcohol, I forgot to mention. Typically, I was making my meads at that point, fruit meads especially, in the 15 to 18% alcohol range, so this is some kick-ass punch to it. So I'll probably just drink half of that bottle tonight, and maybe drink the other half tomorrow night. Cheers! And it seems I didn't really get a good clear shot of the clarity of this mead, which is honey and fruit fermented. You can read that receipt through there. You probably can't see, there's a couple of little pieces of particulate in there, because when I previously tipped the bottle over to pour and tipped it back, there is just a whisper of sediment in this bottle, which you would expect after 9 years. It's 7 years in the bottle, 9 years total. You would still expect that whisper of sediment. So once I disturbed the bottle, I just poured a second glass here, or refilled my glass actually. So I did get a little bit, it didn't cloud the stuff in my glass, but there are a couple of tiny pieces of particulate in there that you can see. But look at how clear that is. That is just so fantastic. This is just spectacular and so easy to make, so incredibly easy to make. What I typically do is 10 liters of water, 5 kilos of fruit, and 3 kilos of honey is my typical recipe. I can't remember what he did for this, but it was probably somewhere close to that. And basically add a wine yeast or a beer yeast or a mead yeast if you can find one, and let it ferment. That's pretty much all there is to it. Take the fruit out after a couple of weeks, give it a good squeeze, and put a good airlock on it, and let it ferment for a nice long time. A year if you can wait that long, or longer.